Wednesday, September 6th, 2023, AGNDD Intellireport topic, Pareidolia. Please pardon any visual and informational inaccuracies in this entirely AI-generated Wikipedia-sourced video article.
Pareidolia, the tendency to see patterns or faces in random stimuli, is a common phenomenon. It is more prevalent in older individuals and is not related to autism traits. The term pareidolia comes from the Greek words para, meaning beside, alongside, instead of, and eidolon, meaning image, form, shape. The German word Pareidolia was used by Carl Ludwig Kahlbaum in his 1866 paper on delusions of the senses. When the paper was reviewed in English the following year, Pareidolia was translated as pareidolia and was noted to be synonymous with terms like changing hallucination, partial hallucination, and perception of secondary images. Pareidolia, the tendency to see patterns or faces in random stimuli, is common in individuals with Parkinson's disease and dementia with Lewy bodies. This phenomenon is more prevalent in older individuals but does not appear to be related to autism traits. Pareidolia is the phenomenon where people interpret random images as faces. Studies have shown that objects perceived as faces activate the fusiform face area in the brain, similar to real faces. This suggests that face perception is an early process and not a cognitive reinterpretation. Another study found that repeated exposure to meaningful shapes led to decreased brain responses for real objects. These findings explain why people quickly identify simple shapes as faces and suggest that this ability evolved to quickly recognize emotions and threats. A mimetolithic pattern is a pattern created by rocks that resemble recognizable forms through natural processes like formation, weathering, and erosion. Examples include the face on Mars and cliff profiles that resemble human faces. Picture jaspers exhibit patterns like banding and color variations, creating miniature scenes on cut sections used for jewelry. Chert nodules can be mistaken for organic fossils. In the 1970s, Chonosuke Okamura claimed to have found preserved fossil remains of tiny organisms in limestone, earning him an IG Nobel Prize. Some mimetolithic features have been observed on Pluto, including a heart-shaped region. In 1877, observers viewing Mars through telescopes believed they saw straight lines on the planet's surface, which were interpreted as canals possibly made by intelligent beings. This caused excitement, but as photographic techniques and telescopes improved, new images showed no evidence of the lines, debunking the canal theory as an example of pareidolia. The Rorschach inkblot test is a projective test that uses pareidolia to gain insight into a person's mental state. It involves showing respondents ambiguous inkblot images and eliciting their thoughts or feelings, which are then analyzed for patterns and interpretations. The test aims to uncover hidden aspects of a person's personality or psychological functioning. The 1954 Canadian Landscape Canadian Dollar Banknote series is famous for the Devil's Head variety, where patterns in Queen Elizabeth II's hair on the notes create the illusion of a grinning face. This is an example of pareidolia, where people see recognizable shapes or patterns in random stimuli. The attention garnered by this phenomenon led to revised designs in 1956 that removed the effect. During the Renaissance, authors like William Shakespeare and Nathaniel Hawthorne explored the concept of pareidolia. In Shakespeare's play Hamlet, the character Hamlet feigns madness by pointing at the sky and engaging in a conversation about imaginary figures. Similarly, Hawthorne's short story, The Great Stone Face, revolves around a village that reveres a face-like formation on a mountain. Both works highlight the fascination with and interpretation of perceived faces in inanimate objects. During the Renaissance, artists like Leonardo da Vinci and Andrea Mantegna used pareidolia in their paintings, incorporating human faces that appeared in objects or clouds. Leonardo even wrote about pareidolia as a technique for painters to create various landscapes and figures. In the 20th century, artists like Sidney Kernow-Vosper and Salvador Dali intentionally used pareidolia, with Vosper's painting Salem gaining attention for a rumored hidden face of the devil. Surrealist artists often incorporated hidden faces in their works. 213 the century buildings in Turkey, the Nigda Aladdin Mosque and the Divrigi Great Mosque and Hospital, showcase the use of shadows in their architectural design. In Islam, direct pictorial representation is avoided, but tessellations and calligraphic pictures are allowed. These buildings creatively utilize the shadows cast by their stone carvings to create silhouettes. The Nigdi Al-Adin Mosque forms the shadow of a woman's face with a crown and long hair, while the Divrigi Great Mosque and Hospital casts a giant shadow of a praying man that changes pose as the sun moves. Perceptions of religious imagery and ordinary phenomena known as pareidolia have been observed in various instances. Examples include seeing religious figures in tree calluses, clouds of smoke during the September 11th attacks, and even in the flames of Notre Dame Cathedral. Objects like a grilled cheese sandwich with the face of the Virgin Mary have gained attention and been sold on online auctions. The Shroud of Turin, believed by some to bear the imprint of Jesus Christ, has been subject to interpretations of various symbols and objects which researchers attribute to pareidolia. Pareidolia can occur in computer vision, particularly in image recognition programs. Artificial neural networks can falsely detect and enhance features, resulting in striking visuals. Deep Dream software exemplifies this by exaggerating features like eyes and faces in any image. Creating a feedback loop and modifying the output can further amplify these features. This can be used to create animations or surrealistic imagery. In 1971, Konstantin Zraudive wrote about electronic voice phenomena, EVP, in his book Breakthrough. EVP is believed to be a form of auditory pareidolia. Backmasking, where hidden messages are claimed to be recorded backward in music, is also considered auditory pareidolia. In 1995, psychologist Diana Deutsch developed an algorithm that produces phantom words and phrases by playing sounds with a time phase offset between stereo speakers. These phantom words often seem to reflect the listener's thoughts. Medical educators use pareidolia and patternicity to teach medical students and resident physicians to recognize human anatomy on radiology imaging studies. For example, spinal radiographs can resemble the face of an owl, and changes in the appearance can indicate spinal fractures or malignancies. Another example is the Scotty dog sign on spinal X-rays. In a recent article, a professor introduced the concept of visualizing the sacrum as Baby Yoda on MRI and CT scans, with sacral openings resembling eyes and the sacral canal resembling a mouth. In January 2017, a Cheeto resembling Harambe the gorilla was sold on eBay for $99,000. In 2021, a meme emerged around Among Us, where everyday items resembling the game's characters were auctioned online. In May 2021, a Chicken McNugget shaped like an Among Us crewmate was sold on eBay for $99,997 to an anonymous buyer. A shadow person is a perceived humanoid figure in a patch of shadow, often attributed to pareidolia. This phenomenon is the interpretation of random patterns as meaningful shapes. Believers in the paranormal or supernatural may interpret shadow people as spirits or entities. Skeptics argue that pareidolia is responsible for people believing they have seen ghosts. In conclusion, pareidolia, the perception of patterns or faces in random stimuli, is a common phenomenon in individuals with Parkinson's disease and dementia with Lewy bodies, but it is not related to autism traits.
Thank you for watching this AGNDD Intellireport. Like, subscribe, and click the bell button to get notified during new uploads. And make sure to tune in next time. Stay safe and healthy. Cheers.